Have you ever thought that nails and bolts, which seem to be just for fastening and assembling, could actually become incredibly fun DIY materials? Instead of throwing away old bolts or rusty nails, you can totally repurpose them for small DIY projects. From crafting wooden shelf brackets and making tool hooks to adding decorative details on storage boxes or picture frames, it's budget-friendly and full of character. That's the beauty of DIY. If you enjoy creative upcycling ideas like this, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any simple yet super useful DIY tips in my upcoming videos. Now, I'm going to grind the head of this long bolt to make it flatter and neater, then sharpen the tip of the nail so it's easier to use in upcoming DIY tricks. For the nail, I'll make sure to grind the tip to a really sharp point. This will allow it to pierce or mark materials more effectively. After finishing the grinding, I'll start turning them into some useful DIY tools. I'll take 2 rectangular wooden pieces, each about 1 centimeter thick. These will serve as the base parts of the tool, sturdy enough to hold everything in place, but still easy to shape and drill for assembly. I'll use some super glue first to hold them in place, just enough to keep the pieces steady before moving on to reinforce them later. Next, I'll drill a couple holes through the wooden pieces to insert bolts. This will make the joint much stronger and more secure, ensuring the 2 pieces stay tightly connected even when the tool is put to use. After drilling, I'll insert the bolts and tighten them firmly with a wrench or screwdriver. This step locks the 2 wooden pieces together, giving the base a solid and reliable structure, ready to handle whatever DIY task comes next. Now, I'll measure 10 centimeters up from the bottom and mark a point right in the center. This spot will be the reference for the next step, where I'll drill or attach additional parts to complete the tool structure. Next, I'll drill a hole right at that marked point. This hole will serve as the main mounting spot. Perfect for inserting a bolt, nail, or any attachment needed. Then I'll insert the nail into the hole, making sure it fits snugly and stays straight. I'll fix it in place with a bit of super glue, making sure the nail stays firmly secured and doesn't wobble. Once the glue sets, the structure will be solid and ready for practical use. To make it even sturdier, I'll mix some sawdust with super glue and apply it around the joint. This combination fills gaps and hardens into a solid structure, giving the nail and wooden base extra strength and stability for any DIY task. To make it even sturdier, I'll mix some sawdust with super glue and apply it around the joint. This combination fills gaps and hardens into a solid structure, giving the nail and wooden base extra strength and stability for any DIY task. The sawdust won't create a color that's too different from the wood, so the joint will blend in nicely and look neat while staying strong. Next, I'll prepare some candles in a container filled with enough ice-cold water. These will be used in the upcoming steps to safely shape and cool certain parts of the DIY tool. Now comes the most exciting part. I'll use this tool to cut a glass bottle. This is where all the preparation pays off. I'll place the glass bottle on the wooden base, positioning it carefully so the sharp tip of the nail rests against the bottle surface. This setup lets the nail score the glass precisely, creating a clean line for cutting. After scoring a line around the bottle, I'll light the candles and carefully heat the glass along the marked line. The gentle heat will help the glass expand slightly, making it easier to separate cleanly along the score. Heating the glass is important because it creates a small temperature difference along the scored line. Glass expands when heated, and this stress concentrates along the score, making it crack cleanly and separate more easily without shattering. After gently heating the scored line over flame, I'll immediately dip the bottle into the ice-cold water. Then, using the bolt, I'll tap lightly along the score. The sudden temperature change and gentle tapping help the glass crack cleanly along the line. Once the bottle splits, the cut line is relatively smooth and even, following the score almost perfectly. The edges might still have tiny glass fragments or roughness, but the overall separation creates two usable pieces, ready for sanding or further DIY finishing. The cut edges of the glass are extremely sharp and jagged, so you have to be very careful when handling them. Even a light touch could cause serious cuts. It's highly recommended to wear protective gloves or use a thick cloth when moving or holding the pieces. Next, I'll take a piece of paper or a cloth and wipe off any candle soot or residue that's stuck to the surface of the bottle. This cleans the glass, leaving it clear and ready for the next steps in the DIY project. Then, I'll use sandpaper to smooth the cut edge of the bottle's mouth. Carefully sanding it down removes any sharpness, making it safe to handle and ready for practical use in DIY projects or as a functional container. After a few more minutes of careful sanding, the edge of the glass turns from sharp and rough to smooth and refined. The difference is easy to notice. It no longer glints with jagged lines, but instead has a clean, matte finish. When I gently run my fingers along the rim, it feels pleasantly smooth without any bite or scratch. The transition between the inner and outer surface is seamless, giving a sense of precision and care in the work. Now the glass is completely safe to touch, and it also looks much more polished and professional. The lower part of the bottle can be repurposed as a drinking glass. It's sturdy, stylish, and perfectly sized for everyday use. You can pour in water or any beverage, and it feels surprisingly comfortable to hold. It's a simple way to turn what would have been waste into something both practical and visually appealing for your workspace or home. Or you can use it as a pen holder or a container for small items. Its smooth glass surface and rounded shape make it look neat and minimal, while still adding a bit of creative charm to your desk or workbench. It's a great way to recycle while keeping your space organized and stylish. As for the upper part of the bottle, when placed over a candle, it can act as a wind shield while also helping to radiate heat more evenly. The glass traps and reflects the warmth, allowing the candle to burn steadily even in a breezy environment. It not only looks interesting, but also adds a practical touch to your DIY setup. When turned upside down and placed over the candle, the flame goes out instantly. The limited air inside quickly runs out of oxygen, extinguishing the fire in seconds. It's a simple yet clever trick. Not only practical, but also a fun way to make use of the bottle's shape and material. In conclusion, this simple DIY glass bottle cutter made from an old spark plug proves that creativity can turn even discarded parts into something incredibly useful. With just a few basic materials, some wood, a spark plug, and a bit of patience, you can create a tool capable of cutting bottles cleanly and safely. It's efficient, easy to use, and completely handmade, beyond saving money. It also gives a great sense of satisfaction seeing something old transformed into a practical, eco-friendly tool that sparks new ideas for future DIY projects.